Welcome back, my friends. Back to the couch here at the Global Finals. It's time for Champions. 2012 goes up against 2013 here. And joining me on couch for this one is the same team as before. It is TLO in control and my good Frenchman, Todd. Hello, mate.
Not friend.
My good Frenchman, not friend?
No, Frenchman.
What was that?
You're my friend, Todd. I view you as a friend.
What? What's wrong with me, my good Frenchman?
Wow, okay.
You're my good
Let's
French
move
friend.
on.
You're my good French friend.
He'll see
Todd.
you in Heroes of the Storm as well.
And if he would play it, he would beat you.
He plays it, I told you. 150 games already.
Oh, really?
I have played 150 games of it now.
Making
Okay.
fun of
I'm
me.
getting
In
close.
total or in a week?
In total.
Oh, in total.
In total.
No, in a week.
I'm getting closer to Todd's 5,000. It's a lot of games. But this PvP,
Really?
it is a lot, 4 or 5K.
No. Less, around 3K.
No, don't you put it
No,
lower
really.
than
I think that's
it is.
impressive.
A
And you and
PvP
Claire's
that
make
we
a hell
all
of
can
a
be
team.
excited for, Todd. I mean, PartinG versus SOS is, for a Protoss player, it's almost a dream come true to see these two go up against each other.
It's definitely a little bit of a dream. At the same time, though,
Not a dream.
I don't want to go
reality.
full TLO here. I don't want to disagree with myself, but at the same time, you know, like stylistically, there's definitely things that could make this match a very quick one. We've seen SOS before in important matches.
Yeah.
Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, $100,000 winner take all in the grand final, win very quickly. So I'm a little bit
Well,
worried.
it was 4-2, wasn't it? Wasn't it 4-2, that one?
Oh, it was a pretty quick match with a lot of proxies.
Yeah.
Is what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yes, it was. And Blink
Now
Stalkers.
you remember.
Yes.
I mean,
So
sorry.
I was, I'm just a little bit worried that we see another one of those.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for close games. I'm hoping for longer games, and yeah.
I agree.
Let's check in with the bracket now, as we do have this available for you. And because it is first place $100,000, the bracket would not be right if SOS wasn't in there. And the winner will go up against Rain, so another Protoss versus Protoss, guaranteeing 2 in the quarterfinals. But we've got a good set of players, 6 players left to play here today, TLO.
Yep, and some of them I'm really looking forward to. Well, actually,
Oh,
all of them.
this one? You don't like this one?
Oh,
Are you not looking forward to
You're
all
not
the
looking
games,
at PartinG
TLO?
versus SOS?
Come on, Theodore.
Well, I mean,
TLO, you're a generalist
because
now.
it's
Go to
PartinG
me
and
next,
SOS,
honestly.
it's gonna be awesome.
just
But
kidding.
I don't have so much to say about it, so I can't seem smart, and then I'm
Oh,
sad.
wow.
It doesn't matter what you say, you are smart.
Well, just say something at least.
Just
okay.
think with your...
Thanks for the lessons in casting.
You're welcome.
It's not really casting, it's more about
It's a
talking.
casting
Yeah,
couch.
that's true.
Okay,
It's a misnomer, maybe.
SOS though.
Back to Todd, yeah.
Going into this tournament, okay, so 2 years ago he won. But going into this one here, last year he was very close to qualifying, and then towards the end of the year chose not to attend, I think, the last tournament with which you could try and earn some points and qualify. This year he went to, I think it was DreamHack, and before that the MSI tournament where
right.
he won and scored a lot of points. That's the only reason why he was able to make sure that he was going to be able to attend here. So I made sure to ask him.
Yep.
I was like, did you regret last year not to try and qualify? He was like, oh yes. He's like, I'm not going to make the same mistake this year. Went to MSI, went to DreamHack, scored enough points here to make sure he was
It's a
going to
hard-hitting
attend.
question.
He's not messing around this
Wow.
time. He wants that title and he wants that money.
Is
Do you
he a
regret not
favorite?
making it to BlizzCon? Yes, I do. Yeah, I like it. I do want to say, though, so Todd was touching on, I think we actually kind of disrupted him, but stylistically, PartinG is kind of the crazy guy that definitely does obviously have refined build orders, but he'll do pretty, all over the place stuff.
Yeah.
SOS is like the architect. He's thought of Game 2, probably on some level Game 3 even, and he's got these builds that he's going to rotate through, and he's just a builder kind of guy. So I agree with Todd. It could be like sometimes when SOS hits his stride, it makes for a really bad series because it's just like, and the Oracle hits and you're dead, and the Blink Stalkers hit and you're dead, and DTs, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, hey,
Oh, nice to play
good
you.
best of 5. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
especially because both of them are like kind of known to do aggressive builds like that. It
Yeah.
could just like clash really hard. Like one guy just counters very directly the
Yes.
other guy, and then
So
it's-
I'm going to ask you again, on a scale from 1 to TLO, how creative are they going to get?
Oh, wow.
from 1 to TLO.
Isn't it more 1 TLO to 10 TLOs?
Yeah,
'Cause
like
there's-
I
what's
can
one
just
step
imagine
before?
the scale with all these
1 is
TLO
the
heads
lowest,
going up.
TLO is the highest.
his scale would be like cats to TLO, right?
Cats to TLO. from Cats to TLO, it's going to be a Tartan.
Oh.
That's still on the low end of the spectrum. I
So
think.
not creative at all.
Yeah.
But for both of them? Then who loses? Because
Who loses?
there's like only
It's not-
one
well-
Todd.
Well, I mean, historically, the guy that is closer to TLO loses, I guess.
Well, I don't really know where this is going from here. So
I didn't either. It got complicated there.
Myself here.
The symbolism got really weird. I didn't know where we were. There's Todd's here and TLOs.
It was a little bit dangerous where we were going down there. But, you know, we've heard some of your thoughts. Now let's get some of the players' thoughts. Of course,
this segue.
PartinG and sOs have some words for you.
영어로 하는 거 아니죠, 이거? 저 영어 못하는데 아예 못하니까. 안녕하세요.
알찬 한 해를 보낸 것 같은데 벌써 이렇게 한 해가 마무리된다고 생각하니까
프로게이머로서 해야 될 건 다 했다고 봅니다. 원희삭이랑 붙게 돼서 제가 VOD를 찾아보려고 했어요. 근데 VOD가 최근에 없더라고요. 어디 유럽 한두 달 여행이라도 갔다 왔나 생각이 들었어요.
일단 형 올해 나 완전 날아다닐 때 형 어디 있는지도 솔직히 몰랐고 뭐 이제 와서 내가 약간 폼이 줄었는데 이제 어느 정도 밸런스가 맞춰진 것 같아 형한테 눈높이가. 그래도 난 형보다 눈높이가 더 높기 때문에 압도적인 스코어로만 지지 말아줘. 3대 1까지는 가자.
너는 블리즈콘 우승할 때 미국에서 했었냐? 16강은 여기서 하고 있잖아요. 버뱅크에서. 그러니까 꼭 이겨서 N9까지 가서 트로피를 꼭 들어보고 싶어요.
지금 나 장난 아니다고. 아무나 다 만나도 박살낼 수 있다.
좀 말이 많은 것 같은데 확실히 게임으로는 못 이길 것 같으니까 여기서라도 입으로라도 이겨.
근데 유진이 형이 나 이길 수 있을까?
Confidence is flowing for both of them, according to that video. Both very happy with who they've been drawn. And that's something that we talked about before going live, Todd, is that you thought that both sides would feel like that.
Yeah, definitely. They have both of these players. They have always had a confident style. The thing is, though, I feel like sOs is a little bit more for real than PartinG, maybe in this case. And sOs he's a huge gambler. We've seen him in the past take huge gambles. From Nexus first to double proxied gateway in base, right outside of the natural. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to this match with one build picked per map and aims to win like this.
Yeah.
A gambler with perfect form seems unstoppable.
When you run good, you run good.
What does it even mean?
I just like seeing Sean evolve even further into the host. Like, a gambler in perfect form. Is he or is he not the best on planet Earth? And we're like, Sean, no one's saying that. How do I follow that up? No, but I agree with Todd. He does probably have some kind of build, if not for each map, then maybe even the series itself. And I'm excited at the idea of some proxy gateways, some wild stuff. This is our first PvP. Oh, wow. Hey, cutie. Hey. Right back at you. But anecdotally, I want to talk about PartinG as well, because PartinG, I love in that interview that they kind of get the personality out of these guys. And PartinG first really, I don't want to say, oh, wow, there goes his face. And you're a cutie too. I see you, buddy. All right, but way back in like China, BWI, the tournament where he faced my teammate Suppy, I remember he was just killing everybody with the immortal pushes in the PvZ matchup. And he actually dropped a map or two to Suppy, and then they asked him, they're like, how did you feel about that? And he was like, I was pissed off. This guy probably scouted out my builds, and he played dishonorably, and it really upset my gaming spirit. And then he went on to crush Suppy and most of the other people in the tournament. So it was actually kind of one of those like, oh, wow, this guy brings some angst and attitude to it. And he you know, you talk about maybe false confidence, sure, but I just like that he puts a little bit of spirit into his game.
Yeah,
it's really
definitely.
cool.
He's probably the most emotional Korean player, and maybe even the most outgoing, even like in showing his emotion. Because in Korean culture, most people are taught not to necessarily show as much emotion in public. And PartinG is kind of the paradox in the StarCraft 2 scene there. And it's awesome because he's also so freaking good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a super fun guy, but when he wants to get serious, he really does get serious. And if he wants to win a tournament, he'll go ahead and, you know, give it his very well best.
Yeah, definitely. Talking to him a while back, he, much like many players here, except a very few ones, he told me that this was a very important for him tournament, and he was going to practice very hard for it. So now, How do you study SOS though? Like I said, like this guy's a big gambler. You know, I have a funny story actually. SOS, as soon as he arrived here, he asked me what the casino was. So I gave him the address.
Of course he did.
And he texted,
buddy. That's when you get really meta on him.
he texted me past midnight and he was like, this casino has no roulette. So I was like, oh, I apologized to him. I was like, oh, sorry, like I didn't know, you know, I only play poker personally. And he was like, don't worry, I'll play Baccarat. Like I'm already playing Baccarat.
Because you were worried, right? You were just up at night like, oh, God, no.
Yeah, I was like,
No,
I heard
that's
the poor
why
guy,
you
he went
get
there
it
for
in.
nothing because he's pretty far.
So would you say that's the perfect PvP preparation then?
Yeah. He already like
He's in the mindset.
prepared exactly
I mean,
what they need to do.
how can you
That's probably
predict-
where he picked his builds
How
at the
can you
table.
predict what the series is going to look like? I feel it's
A slugfest, Apollo.
a slugfest. That's
Don't
it,
vote the
Todd
way
said.
Todd did. Is pretty
All right,
much
let's look
my
at the
strategy.
predictions that we took then, at least. I mean, it's hard to know exactly how this is going to play out because of these two players. But we've gone for, well, I've gone for with Nathanius PartinG, and everyone else has gone for SOS.
Interesting. I feel a little bit nervous now because Nathanius has some weird. He's got some weird Magic 8-Ball stuff going on back there where he's like transcended himself and is making correct predictions. And there you are next to him.
Why have you chosen SOS? What is it?
Okay, so yeah, my reasoning for
he gonna
SOS
win?
is I actually really like him as an architect for a prepared match. I feel like even though PartinG has moved back to Korea and is performing very well, and of course he too is good in prepared matches, I give the edge to SOS. Also, maybe more importantly, there's $100,000 to the first place prize. SOS is known to actually only win those tournaments. So there's all kinds of impetus going there, and it's a PvP, and we've seen SOS claim it in PvPs in particular as well.
As of late, both at MSI and DreamHack, he played very impressively as well. He's definitely got some good momentum riding. And PartinG, he was earlier in the year where I think he was putting up some really good performances. As of late, maybe not as much. You know, he talked a little bit about some potential retirement. No, he's coming back a little bit more in full force. I spoke with him. He's like, maybe I won't retire just yet. I think he's starting to realize that what he's got going for him in StarCraft is really good, but I feel like SOS, he's just got that extra thing that's going to allow him to do well here.
He strikes me as a little bit more disciplined player, and especially with that forbidden fruit of the Legacy of the Void tree hanging over the players right now, that might give him the edge as well.
Fruit of the
I just like to hear him talk.
tree.
I just like to hear him talk. It's beautiful. So creative.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to hear what you've got to say, and we'll be having more from you a little bit later on. But do remember to check in with social media. It's always, of course, #WCS. Give us your tweets and give us your thoughts. But now it's time to head over to the commentary team as the 2012 champion goes up against the 2013 one.
A PvP slugfest for the ages, Kev. This is one of the matches that looks so exciting to me, even as a Terran player, just because it's PartinG and SOS.
Yeah, I mean, we've got two of the craziest Protoss players out there. And not just crazy, they're also crazy good. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A very big series. I think one that's very difficult to predict as well. You went for PartinG, I went for SOS. Even on the couch, you know, the opinions were a little different.
PartinG repped the Kappa clan on NA all year long, scoring ladder points for us. I got to back my boy up when it comes to the global finals. I'm excited for this. We're going to kick things off on Terraform in this PvP. I actually just couldn't be more excited for a PvP, Kevin.
No, it's going to be very, very fun. Of course, SOS has played more high-level PvP recently than PartinG has over the last few months, but PartinG has been sure of this BlizzCon spot for a very long time, so I'm sure he came in very well prepared.
That's right. Of course, he is our blue Protoss in the northwest of Terraform, representing Yoey Flash Wolves. It's PartinG.
2012 World Champion. Back then, won it off the back of pretty much only PvPs. I think semifinals, finals, only the quarterfinals was against Suppy. He's going up against the man who won BlizzCon in 2013, which was indeed here in America. He is SOS.
And already we see the 11 supply gateway opening for PartinG, going 12 as well. So no later gateways, no 13. No, both of these guys are ready to get down to business, and that, in my eyes, is what makes watching these two players play PvP, whether it's against each other or anyone else, some of the most fun StarCraft you'll ever see. These guys do not relent. They are, I would say, if you had a scale of boring to exciting players, these guys are on the very top of the exciting scale. They don't produce boring games. Both of them have done crazy things throughout StarCraft's history, and they've given us some of the most memorable moments that we've ever had in esports, period.
Yeah, absolutely. PartinG, just a couple months ago, the Intox 3 Masters in Shenzhen did have a PvP final. He started off great against Classic, went up 1-0, but in the end he fell 1-4. Got a little bit unfortunate in a couple of those builds, but we'll see if it's any different today. If you guys think it's going to be different, make sure to vote for PartinG, #PartinG. However, if you think that sOs is going to go all the way, if you think he's going to make it at least to the quarterfinals or maybe even lift that trophy once again in Anaheim, go for #SOS on the Twitter universe. We're very curious to see where you guys go.
Yeah,
because we're split over here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm 100% predictions, so I hope all of you are hashtagging PartinG right now. Brace yourselves, make bets with your friends. It'll be a lot of fun. PartinG's got this in the bag, Kev.
Nate predicts a couple of games and he thinks he's an Oracle.
Well, I certainly don't kill as many SCVs as an Oracle can.
So, like you mentioned, PartinG went for an 11 gate early on. Now, both these guys, they switch up their openings a lot. That's something that you pretty much have to do. Of course, the most basic way to play PvP in this day and age is Stalker into Twilight, Blink, 2 more gates and then a Robo. But Stargate openings are also extremely common. And then there are a lot of different builds out there. There's a good chance that PartinG is just going to open up with some 3 gateway aggression. He just starts the Mothership Core now, but by the time that an Oracle is actually out and across the map, I think he would have enough energy for a Photon Overcharge. Since he's keeping this probe here, there's actually going to be a 1-gate Nexus for PartinG. Wow, that's a very surprising build to say the least, Nate.
I mean, off the back of the 11 supply gate, we go straight into the Mothership Core. So will he have enough? Yeah, he should have enough energy for an overcharge if an Oracle were to come into his main base. So as far as the Stargate build goes, this is kind of good for PartinG, or?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because, you know, like you said, he should have enough energy for Photon Overcharge. There's going to be a skirmish over here. I do like this. He's actually going to be able to win this
He's trying to block the pathing on that bad boy and also can scare him with that pylon.
Yeah, exactly. It's mostly a scare. I think it's a scare above anything. I do think he's going to cancel that pylon. You don't want to let it finish up.
It's a good Halloween costume, Roddy, the proxy pylon.
But if I'm that would be a great Halloween costume. I'm sure somewhere out there in this universe dressed up as a pylon.
Shouldn't there be something else with you? Or the DTs, you can't see him.
I think if I was SOS right now, I'd be hella paranoid. That's why he's not walking down his ramp. That's why he's keeping his Stalker and his Mothership Core at home. Because if 3 more Stalkers have been warped in and 5 Stalkers shoot at your Mothership Core, it is going to die. Instead, it's going to be the Oracle. The Mothership Core is a tiny bit out of position, but SOS is going to be able to spot the Nexus immediately. He's like, oh man, game 1 of a PvP series and you're already tricking me? This Oracle is real, by the way, PartinG.
Yeah, you cannot just ignore this. So 3 probes are going to get picked off. The sentries are going to make their way down towards the natural. There's actually a few vulnerable probes here. Manages to grab another one, and the Oracle gets out with its life.
Yep, Photon Overcharge activated and 4 dead probes. I think that's something that you're very satisfied with if you're SOS.
Yeah. PartinG's going into an Immortal, adding on an extra gateway. What does the Immortal tell us, Kevin?
Because a very common build in PvP right now is Oracle into very quick Twilight. So you open up with an Oracle, you force out Photon Overcharge, you keep the Oracle alive, and then you try to win with Blink Stalkers. That is what you worry about when you go for a quick expand build like SOS does. And Immortals are very good against Blink Stalkers, and even better against regular Stalkers.
All right, I'm very interested to see. Of course, you guys seem to think that SOS is going to win this match for some reason, as PartinG prepares his 2-base defense. He doesn't have a Photon Overcharge available because of that Oracle, Roddy.
He does have sentries, though, so if he positions his army properly, but the Oracles can actually shoot down these sentries. This is going to be very difficult for PartinG already. Actually, he's going to use the Oracles to kill the Immortal. They do a little bit of damage. The force fields are good.
I mean, with no Hardened Shields left, the Immortal is pretty vulnerable to those Stalkers, but buys himself some time. However, the pylon has finished. The aggressive position has been opened up now for SOS to continue to apply pressure.
I mean, this is what Jeff meant, right? Often it's Oracle into gateway aggression, and this could be very well the end, and kind of has to be, because if PartinG stabilizes here with a base advantage, that is very, very big in PvP. Yeah. So SOS wants to make something happen here, but he has to be so careful.
A lack of sentries really hurts SOS too, because he can't
drop force fields?
He's having a hard time locking him in, and that Immortal that took the damage from the Oracle has managed to get most of its shields back, which really makes it so much more powerful versus those Stalkers.
Yep. Force fields do go down, just a single one though from SOS, and it doesn't really trap a whole lot of units. So far, excellent defense by PartinG. This Oracle doesn't have any energy. It's 26 workers against 25, but SOS really needs to make something happen here because he's behind on tech. He does have 1 more gateway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just important also that the Immortals are actually attacking the Stalkers. This one on the north side gets force fielded out, but was only shooting at the Zealots in the first place. place. So these Stalkers from SOS being a little bit more effective than they should otherwise be.
Yep, I mean, every second that goes by, we're getting quicker to another photon overcharge. Actually, there is enough energy for another photon overcharge right now, if PartinG would need it. So it seems like PartinG has defended successfully. He has to be careful because he doesn't have Blink Stalkers, so force fields are very deadly. But
I guess
SOS,
he's worried about the Oracle, right? Because he could go back to the
Yeah.
main base anytime. Actually, that might be the Oracle right now, heading towards that main.
Yep,
It doesn't really have any energy, so just give me a probe or two. 3. Okay, Oracles are good. 5
Yeah.
probes. Every time I question myself.
I mean, that's actually very good because the Oracle stays alive as well, so shields can regenerate. And SOS is going to realize, like, I probably can't break him, especially not now he didn't use Photon Overcharge in the natural. So I'm going to try to transition myself. PartinG is up 2 workers though, and he has those Immortals. But force fields are still very scary, he has to be careful here. I think Photon Overcharge should go down now, and it does.
Yeah, and that'll push that army away. Oracle's going to dip in again. The second one actually
Yeah,
has a
that's
lot
a
of
new
energy. So can actually pick off quite a few probes, but the 2 Stalkers act as a reasonable deterrent. Only 3 so far. Dips in for the 4th and 5th. That SOS Oracle Micro.
That's very good. He has killed 14 workers throughout this game now. So he's evening up it, you know, when it comes to the economy, and that's very good because his Nexus was so much later. He's getting his own Robo-Bay now as well, so this game does not end over here. PartinG has a stronger army, but attacking in PvP, especially when there are sentries out on the map and you have to worry about oracles, is very difficult. So I don't think that PartinG is in a position to attack anytime soon.
Leaving your base in this scenario is a very scary prospect for any Protoss player. Like you said, Kev, those 2 Oracles, man, they run in, they one-shot probes.
Yeah.
You hate your life.
Yep, as long as they are alive, it's very unlikely that PartinG will ever leave his side of the map, unless, you know, he would have double Photon Overcharge, but he's light years away from that.
Catches a few of SOS's Stalkers. A bit of a blunder there from our red Protoss player.
You know, 3 Stalkers is actually a pretty big deal. Of course, Stalkers don't have Blink, so that is very nice. PartinG is going to find one of these probes, or one of these pylons on the north side, so he could eventually take care of that. Gets a couple of shots off on an Oracle, but doesn't kill it.
Yeah, it seems like he sees this opportunity to put this little bit of pressure back.
Yeah, SOS is going up to Colossus very quickly. That's something that sometimes could be risky, but I think he's still confident enough in A, his ability to defend with Force Fields and Photon Overcharge, and B, he still has the Oracles.
Yeah, Oracles are headed over to that natural mineral line. 3 Stalkers here to defend. Just kills 2 probes. Not much being done there.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing such a good job there, making sure they stay even in the worker department.
Yeah, PartinG Stalker sees that little move out from SOS. Not a very scary force, of course. Losing all those Stalkers earlier really gets rid of the range in that army.
PartinG did drop a Forge, but he doesn't have a Robo-Bay yet, so I'm starting to have the idea that PartinG maybe wants to go for a big 2-base attack. Even though he's sending out the probe right now, which giving me the idea that he wants to go up to 3 bases.
He starts the 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, I like this, don't get me wrong, but I'm just surprised that he doesn't have a Robo-Bay yet.
Yeah, it's a bit risky tech-wise. Doesn't have too many options. Those Oracles will pick off that Stalker that was chewing away on the pylon. And SOS, man, despite the fact that this army isn't the most mobile ever, he has the sentries, there's a lot of choke points on Terraform, and he's just being out on the map.
No, he's been very active. This is very unusual for a PvP to just run around with zealots and sentries that much. Normally you want to be very risky. Look how late that Robo-Bay is, and if SOS can spot this, I really think that sets up a great attack opportunity for SOS. He could go up to 3 bases, but he doesn't have to. If I was SOS right now, just Chrono Boost out 4 Colossus, make charge, and, you know, count profit.
Go ham. For sure. The Observer sees those Oracles swinging back towards the north side, but that army is headed towards south. Such a paltry army.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to snipe that Nexus. Now, this is not an army that has a ridiculously high damage output. Of course, if 7 Zealots are wrapped around it, you know, then it's decent. But other than that, you know, he doesn't have those hard-hitting units in here like those Immortals.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of keeping those Oracles pushed back, but also great job from SOS keeping the Oracles alive. And now he's going to move in on that 3rd base.
I don't like this that much because there's a lot of Blink Stalkers. If he blinks forward and he kills the Mothership Core, which is what I would do, and PartinG is going to
shoot. He scores, gets it. And now the army of SOS cannot retreat. Throws down the force fields, but you said it, Kev, those Stalkers can continue to advance. There's such little ranged army here. PartinG's going to mop up everything SOS has.
Big mistake there by SOS. An excellent play, of course, by PartinG. He's immediately realizing that, okay, I should kill this Mothership Core, then I can kill all these units. He's getting all these sentries.
That
this
Colossus
has to run as well.
Back up, big boy.
Oh my god, SOS just lost so many units, and that's why it's so unusual to be that active with Zealots and Sentries, because they're slow. units. Stalkers are way faster. And if I'm parting right now, I suicide blink just forward, wait for the rest of my army, and then just blink in, kill the Colossus, and go for it. Couple forces do go down.
Hey, gets the first Colossus. Those Zealots do get a good amount of damage done, but here come the Anchor Immortals to push in, and with these bad boys and no more force fields available, should be able to crack in here and knock down possibly this base in the game. Backing up towards the third base, this Oracle, the last one, will finally die, so now PartinG can bring everything across the map if he so chooses.
I mean, 59 of 60, 56 army supply, there we go, for PartinG against 31 for SOS. There's almost nothing you can do anymore. What an unfortunate moment for SOS to try to snipe that Nexus. It was very risky, and he had decent vision with his Oracles and stuff, so I'm surprised he made that mistake, but PartinG just did everything right. Really good game by PartinG, man. Excellent game number 1.
Yeah, he's really took it to him in this map, and some of these Zealots actually managed to come out and catch a Stalker. The Immortals are going to take the scenic route over the north side of the map, but at this point, is the economic advantage too big? Does PartinG just max out and kill him, or is he looking for different timing?
It's not just the economic advantage, it's also the fact that he killed one of those Colossus. You know, the one thing that SOS really had going for himself is that he had much quicker access to Colossus. You know, he could have had 3 Colossus when his opponent had 1, and Immortals are great, but they're only great if you actually have Colossus on your own. If you didn't, well, then it's going to be difficult. So now I think it's going to be very, very hard for SOS to find something in this game that he can work with. I don't really know. I think he's going to go for a big 2-base push, you know, charge, Archon, Colossus, but I think PartinG just killed way too many units without really losing anything for this to be very difficult for him to stop.
Yeah, and one Colossus just gets caught out here. The Stalkers managed to find it and could actually kill it. Blaze Forward is going to grab it, trades the Stalkers out. I guess he realizes, or maybe he suspects that the Stalkers just aren't as useful. Getting that Colossus, is it worth it for him?
Yeah, well, I agree. Of course, he lost a bunch of Stalkers there, but still completely worth it. SOS is super all in.
Oh,
he's really committed. He finds one more. Well, if it wasn't worth it before, it's super worth it right now. What a disaster game for SOS. This is actually like, this is almost a double victory in game number 1 over here for PartinG. It's all these small things that are going so well for him. And for SOS, it's going to be very tricky. He's going to blink now behind enemy lines as well. He can start, you know, maybe forcing defensive weapons, maybe pick up a couple of probes. I'm not sure where the Mothership Core is. It's probably with the army. So
yeah, he's just going to try to shove it into this third base, and honestly, I don't see how it's going to work. There's so much here for PartinG, and of course he has that defensive position, that extra economy to reinforce. It's gonna be a hell of a time here for SOS as the Zealots get time warp. The army is now pushing in for PartinG, and GG is called. Game number 1 goes to the Yowie Flash Wolves Protoss.
A very cool game number 1, Nate. If you ask me, I think a very high level PvP. Early on, that double Oracle opening into that 3-gate pressure against the 1-gate fast expand from PartinG, that is so difficult to hold if your name is PartinG. Like, you're gonna have to be so careful with your photon overcharges. He did use one, so he didn't have one in the natural, but he did so much with so little. And I think this is a key moment. I really think he should go for the sentries here. Oracles kill sentries in no time. Instead, he goes for the Immortal, does 150 damage, and it survives. I think that is a crucial mistake, and needless to say, later on when he tried to snipe the Nexus and lost his entire army, well, that was a game-ending mistake.
Yeah, having those 2 Immortals for the follow-up push forces SOS to take that expansion. As you already pointed out, the Immortal count was great, but really it also comes down to that push on the third base that Rain tried to, or excuse me, that SOS tried to make. And then PartinG, in perfect position, catches him, and I guess he just didn't expect him to have Blink, because that's just suicide.
I mean, Blink just finished up as well. Blink only finished up a couple seconds before that, and I can't really blame SOS for that. The only thing I think you can say is, like, when you see this many Stalkers, you should kind of know that it's very likely my opponent has Blink, otherwise he's not going to make this amount of Stalkers, right? Sometimes as a Protoss you may skip Blink and go into charge immediately because you feel that the phase of the game where Blink Stalkers are very effective has passed, but you know, PartinG didn't feel like it. And I think when you play against Oracles, it's always nice to have Blink, because if you don't, well, Oracles are going to survive forever. Yeah. Just 2 very big mistakes there by SOS. I mean, let's not forget, Oracles, they do extra damage to light units. Like, that's why they kill Workers so quick, right?
Right.
So they would have killed those 3 sentries early on extremely quick, which would have made it so hard for PartinG to stabilize. And just, you know, doing damage to an Immortal but not killing it, you can't really afford to make mistakes like that in PvP. Somehow, some way, he still put himself in a good position, but then this happened, and well, that was a catastrophe.
Yeah, tough start to the series here for SOS, as not able to capitalize on that early push, the potential that Oracle gave him as well. And we are now loading in to game number 2. We're going to play this one out on Moonlight Madness. We have seen some crazy shenanigans here Which one of these two players can bring it out on top, though? Is PartinG going to secure a 2-0 lead, or is SOS going to bring us back to parity?
I definitely think it's a map where PartinG has a lot more experience on than SOS. This is not a map that's extremely popular in Korea, and PartinG has traveled a little more. But, you know, SOS did make it out to MSI, did make it out to a DreamHack as well, so he's obviously not unfamiliar with the map, but I think that PartinG has played a few more games on it.
Yeah, it's time to find out who's going to bring this one back in. We're loaded in to Moonlight Madness. And in the top right position, we have our blue Protoss player, currently up 1-0 and representing Yoey Flashwolves. He's PartinG.
The world champ of 2012, so far edging out the world champ of 2013. That is this man, spawning in the left bottom side, of course, representing Jin Green Wings. It is SOS.
Already a bit of a switch up. SOS throws down that slightly quicker gateway. Roddy, your Protoss. I always point this out because I always find it interesting. Does it really matter?
Slightly quicker gateway?
Yeah, he went for like 11 supply.
I mean,
it's ahead by a couple seconds.
Yeah, 11 does change a little bit. Like 11 instead of 12 or 13 means that you drop the gateway before you spend the first chrono boost on your Nexus. So that means that you have slightly quicker access to Stalkers, slightly quicker access to a Cybercore, which maybe could set you up for a strong either a quicker Stargate or a strong 3-gateway pressure, which is something that SOS loves a lot. In some of his most recent and very prestigious PvPs that he played in Pro League, he went for a 3-gate where he set himself up kind of defensively, which is very strange because normally when you 3-gate you want to attack immediately. And then he actually just attacked a little bit later when his opponents didn't expect it anymore. This is going to be very different for SOS, however. I think he's going to proxy a Stargate because this probe, you know, normally you don't go over here. So this is going to be the absolute quickest.
Okay, so he's using it to,
Stargate.
he's used that faster gateway to bounce straight away into a little bit of a quicker Stargate so he can put this pressure on against PartinG.
Yeah, but this scout is very big for PartinG. This scout is actually going to see everything. No Mothership Core on the way yet, no Stalker. I mean, even if he had a Zealot, that probe is still going to see it. And if you're PartinG right now, obviously you'll be looking for a second pylon, you know, or a unit that's being chrono boosted. And the moment that PartinG sees none of those things is happening, he's good enough to realize that this is going to be a proxy Stargate. So I wonder how much damage this will do.
It's going to be very interesting to see. Warp Gate starts over both players. PartinG is opening up with the Sentry, so not necessarily ideal versus an Oracle. That Zealot is being chronoed with Warp Gate. Does that tell him perhaps something misleading about what he's opening with?
Yeah, a little bit. That's kind of smart, but he just spent 2 chrono boosts. But it could be, again, Oracle into 3-gate, you know. I do not... Ooh, a Stargate is going to be answered from PartinG. But that's kind of weird, because I think SOS's Oracle is going to arrive before that Stargate is done, or it's going to be pretty much spot on. So then they both might make Phoenixes. I mean, PartinG is definitely going to make Phoenixes. He's not going to make an Oracle, at least.
Yeah.
I would find it very, very, very strange if he makes an Oracle. But I think if SOS sees this in time, he can start Phoenix production before PartinG can, which then would be very good for SOS.
And it's... I'm not entirely sure what to make of this, to be honest. You guys seem to be a little bit more even now. Oh, wow. Nathan picks PartinG. PartinG wins the first map. Suddenly we got a bunch of bandwagoners.
I think it has more to do with the fact that PartinG is up 1-0, Nate. But
probably seeing people as Patriots fans, Roddy.
Yeah. All right, well, here is that Oracle and that Phoenix. Actually, PartinG is opening up with an Oracle, which is just bizarre to me. So maybe that Chrono Boost really confused him. Stalkers are out of position. I'm not sure where the Mothership Core is. He cancels his Oracle. Now he goes Phoenixes, so he really didn't know, Nate.
That's just bizarre, to be honest. He grabs a couple more probes on his
what a
way
start.
out. Oh, it survives. So it's going to be able to bait him away, run around a little bit more. That follow-up Phoenix is coming from SOS.
Yeah, you saw SOS, by the way.
Did he
made a
cancel
Phoenix. Yeah, SOS made a Phoenix. He thought about it, and he's like, nah, you know what? I did great over here. Let's just go into Twilight. Let's just go into Blink Stalkers. And I think I'm going to be able to put myself in a very good position from there. It could be Blink Stalkers aggression, could also be Expand. I think both is actually more than fine. Oh, did SOS just see? Yeah, he just saw that Phoenix fly across the map. PartinG going for multiple Phoenixes. Ooh, oh my god, it's like SOS knows. He just moved it.
Ninja Oracle comes in, grabs another 2 probes, and the Phoenix will finally kill it, but...
If I'm PartinG, I'm so mad right now.
That's a Jimmy Rustler for sure.
And this Phoenix taking a lot of damage as well, even some real HP damage, which is going to make it harder and harder to pick up Phoenixes later. Or excuse me, Stalkers. The Robo is so late. I really think that SOS can just Chrono Boost out Blink and go for it, man. Enjoy the party.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a difficult thing to deal with. I don't know on this map especially how, without a ramp into a natural, SOS can hope to, or excuse me, PartinG can hope to expand behind this against Blink?
You're not going to expand. I mean, expanding is the last thing he's worried about right now. He only has 21 workers, and he knows he's playing. Okay, that is a good move there. These Phoenixes will delay the potential expand from SOS for a little bit, but SOS is probably just going to be more mad about this, and he's going to blink. And again, even if there's a single Immortal out there, I still think he can easily blink forward, just blink on top of the Immortal, snipe it, and go for it. There is an offensive pylon going down, Nate, right outside of the natural of PartinG, and I'm not sure how he's supposed to stop this. SOS is building a robo, and I find that kind of interesting. I wonder what kind of a robo this is. Is this a robo that I am afraid that maybe I cannot win the game over here? Or is this a robo that says I'm so far ahead, I just want to make sure I don't lose to DTs, even though that is extremely unlikely right now?
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting question. The first force field gets dropped trying to stop any type of push. What does he do? Does he try to just come in here and somehow focus? I don't know. He doesn't have any air vision, so the force field should be able to buy him time.
He has a Mothership Core, but he decided not to bring it. So he's going to go via the back door. Actually, that gives PartinG a lot of time to get his Immortal count up, which is good news for him, because if you get 2-3 Immortals, then of course Blinkstalkers become a whole lot less scary.
Gets the probe as well.
I think SOS is so sad right now he's not there anymore with the rest of his army. Because if he was there, he would have blinked forward, he would have blinked on top of the Immortal, and the Immortal would have died immediately.
This is a tough spot to be in. What does he do to actually get vision to move up here? Runs these two to the front and try to use that? This is so gutsy.
And he's wasting a lot of time.
I don't know how this is supposed to work. He has to get his Stalkers up, blink one across to get vision for the rest of the Stalkers to blink up, or run an Observer all the way across the map.
The Phoenixes are soon coming home as well. The Phoenixes have killed 4 probes, by the way. Pretty damn effective in slowing SOS down. So SOS is going to...
So is he going to try to just bait him out? And I guess the idea is contain, and then once he steps down the ramp, he can blink into the main using the Observer and those Stalkers.
He's going to contain for now. He's like, okay, you've got him. Well, I would like to see him just bring his entire army here. I think that's a better choice.
Yeah, pretty gutsy. He's going to open up these back rocks. Maybe he wants to expand there. Still a bit of a dicey position to be in.
And this is very risky though, because we've seen world-class pros players pro it in scenarios like this. Even Trap very recently in a very important game where he could have contained his opponent, and then eventually, it slipped down the ramp. Because it's very easy to mess up with a bunch of Stalkers because they die so quickly.
Little champ Phoenixes.
Yeah, those Phoenixes got a lot of kills.
They're going absolutely ham right now. Might even soon have enough energy for another lift there and pick up a 4th probe.
8 kills, by the way, on those Phoenixes. Oh, good snipe down the sentry. Even gets...
Well, that one's got full energy. Gotta be careful.
Almost got the second. Even though I think PartinG is very happy that it turned into the game that it currently is. He's getting a Prism, so he is a little bit worried about being contained.
It's just so funny because both of these players are always so good in these scrappy scenarios, and now you have them pitted against each other in the Thunderdome, and we get insane games like this. Is he gonna get it? Oh, it's so close. Yeah, he's gonna get the Mothership Core.
Why didn't he use Photon Overcharge?
He must have just barely not enough energy. I don't know.
He may have lost it, but he would have at least been able to kill both Phoenixes and never have to worry about those again.
Oh! Another misclick there. One of those Stalkers not able to escape.
But at the same time, he did run down the ramp. There's enough energy for another force field.
Oh, he blinked straight up with the observer vision, too.
And he knew that the units from PartinG were way out of position because he saw them on the other side. Now he drops another force field, keeping those units out. Very sick play over here by SOS, who's controlling basically 2 armies at the same time.
And some high-level StarCraft taking place here. He sees these 3 Stalkers. Don't blink up there. Those 2 Immortals are going to make life pretty difficult. He's got a Colossus on the way.
Yeah, but I mean, this army, he could actually blink forward and blink on top of those Immortals. Immortals are amazing against Blink Stalkers, but not if there are no Zealots or a Sentry in the mix.
Yeah, this is really tricky because I'm really curious to see it. Okay, so he wants to use the Warp Prism to help Micro keep these units alive, which I do like, but that Warp Prism is already very low on hit points. This is so dangerous.
Yep, there's one Colossus in the mix.
The Stalkers coming from the back on that one base economy is just getting ravaged of PartinG.
Yep, so now that all that SOS has to do is defend one time. He did rebuild his Mothership Core. He probably doesn't have energy. Well, he almost has energy for Photon Overcharge. He's going to be more than fine. This was a phenomenal game by SOS. Yeah. He could have ended it quicker, I think, if he would have taken maybe a little bit more risk, but he's like, nah, I don't need to take risk, I'm SOS.
Wow, so PartinG loses every single probe that he has at home. And this big push-up's just going to jump right on top of the army. He says with the Photon Overcharge, he has enough to break him. He kills the Colossus, the Immortals as well. GG, SOS ties the series 1-1.
Yeah, got a little fortunate there that PartinG misread his build early on. I think PartinG could have dealt with the first Oracle a lot quicker. I have no idea how that happened there, because he had a perfect scout. He didn't see a second pylon. He did see a chrono boost on the gate and the core, and maybe that just truly fooled him.
I mean, if you think about what PartinG did on Terraform, he hid his second pylon, and perhaps he was maybe even mind-gaming himself a little bit, thinking, okay, if you're chronoing Warp Gate and the Gateway, maybe your second pylon is just somewhere I haven't checked.
Yeah, maybe he expected a 3-gate, but then again, he still made a Stargate. I guess when you open up with an Oracle, that's not bad against 3-gates, because sometimes they skip the Mothership core, so all you have to do is defend at home, and then the Oracle will do a lot of damage on the other side of the map. But very unfortunate for PartinG, probably realizing that he missed an opportunity over there in game number 2 on Moonlight Madness. But I must say, the last few minutes in this game, that was pure joy to watch, man. sOs was putting up a clinic of how to be effective with Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, he really bullied PartinG there, and despite the fact that PartinG was able to get such a big army, just those Stalkers in the back, like, he pounced on every opportunity he had. If you can reinforce a push like that, it gets scary once more and more Stalkers get added into that Colossus mix.
And I love that one Blink on the high ground. As soon as he realized that 2 Immortals and a bunch of Stalkers chases 4 Stalkers all the way to the left side over here. Look at it. It's a magnet. Like, it's just like, oh, your Stalkers are over here? Cool. Well, that means that you don't really have a whole lot anymore near your main.
And the Observer can see up this ramp too, so he knows, like, oh, that Immortal's all alone. I just love the way he grabs that, he comes down, uses the second force field on the ramp so that nothing else can run, and then he just blinks right back down right before it ends. Like, his army control was perfect.
Yep, and at the same time, the Stalkers from the north side already coming in. Like, during all this, Nate, he blinked over those rocks again to get those Stalkers back there.
Yeah.
Like, PartinG, like, how do you even do that? How many eyes do you have? How many mice do you play with?
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore stuff. Next map we're going to be playing on is Coda. For this PvP, it's tied 1 apiece. Great series so far. Make sure you're all talking about it. Give us a tweet, hashtag WCS. Who's going to come out on top? This one's, it's already looking like the slugfest we were thinking it might be, Roddy.
Yeah, make sure to hashtag sOs as well to roll with Roddy when it comes
Make
to
sure
the
to
prediction
hashtag
game.
PartinG if you like being at 100%.
We'll see about that after this series, Nate Areno. As we are getting ready to hop into game number 3 that is going to be played on Coda between these 2 world-class Protoss players and previous world champions.
That's right. In the bottom right position, we have Yoey Flash Wolves Protoss. He is PartinG. Died 1 apiece.
Of course, did make it to a GSL final this year. It's a while ago. It was season 1, so people almost forget about it, but came very close to winning it all. Crazy finals against Life back then.
And his opponent in the Northwest, of course, we have Generic Green Wings sOs, or known by his fans as $O$.
Yeah, I love the interview as well that we showed before the series started, where sOs said, like, this year was pretty much as bad as any pro gamer could ever have as a pro gaming year. It's just like, sOs, you won a tournament in Seattle, you gathered enough points to be here at BlizzCon. Like, if your year was bad, you know, I never had a pro gaming career, Nate. Period.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it at that.
That's that's demoralizing,
Yes.
to say the least. Considering, you know, just how good these guys are and what a top 16 we have. Like, just thinking about some of the possible matchups, it's really insane the level of skill that has brought itself together under this one roof, Roddy.
And the 2 quarterfinals that we already have in store, you know, for everyone next week. Hero versus Classic is going to be the PvP battle of the ages. Maybe the 2 hardest Protoss players on Earth right now. And then we've got Life versus Innovation. Well, you know, I'm a Protoss player, but if anyone would ask me, what are you doing on Saturday afternoon or on a specific, you know, anytime, even if it would be a Friday night and I could watch Innovation versus Life, I'd stay home to watch Innovation versus Life.
Yeah.
StarCraft doesn't get much better than that.
No, you're going to see the top level for sure, and that's what this is all about here at the World Championship Series. It's been a phenomenal day so far, you know, in the kicking off our grand finals basically, and with these 2 players, you know, tie 1 of these. I just love that of these first 2 games, we've already seen that this is not going to be a boring game. No. This is not one of those PvPs where 2 guys go, okay, you made a way with the 1 gate expand, I'll take a slightly later expand, and we're going to like build up to that 150 phase where we're putting pressure on with Warp Prism. Oh no!
No, it's trapped.
No,
It wants to jump. Don't jump.
Don't do it.
There's plenty of things to live for. There you go.
You know, that just makes me think about like the Legacy where cutscene, the pro warps and it's like, oh, he's stuck. Just move it. Move it, Kev. Don't leave that little cute guy to die.
It's kind of funny to see how neither player has scouted, not even a tiny bit. PartinG playing against sOs, the man most known for proxies. he didn't even check the corners of his main base. sOs didn't scout either. He did start a Zealot that he then cancelled. So that's kind of like, you know, half-half. I don't want to scout, but at least I have a Zealot on the way in case I do get cheesed, and most of the time this Zealot should be enough to eventually defend. PartinG gets the first shot off over there, so if I was sOs, I'd start running.
Yeah, PartinG shot first. Got to be careful, SOS. Don't want to lose that Stalker in the early phase of the game. This Mothership Core extends itself a bit. And look at that, PartinG going for the Dark Shrine.
It's going to be hard for sOs to scout that or identify. He doesn't have a sentry, and I think that sOs is opening up with Blink Stalker, so I'm not sure. Normally you don't get a robotic facility extremely quick with this build. You get it.
What's this? Right up here, you might see this pylon that's warping into the northeast side. Does the probe spot it? He sees the other probe.
He sees the probe, yeah, but he didn't see the pylon.
That's a really important tell.
No robo just yet. Dark Shrine halfway done, so the clock is definitely ticking for sOs. You're going to have to get a robo with this 100 gas that you're banking right now. If he wipes in one more Stalker nade, it's going to be very tricky. Most of the time, though, these guys are so good, and they'll make sure that they don't die due to these, but it happens to any one of us. Okay, there we do see the robo. So it's a little late. Oh, I like this by PartinG. He's selling this as Stalker aggression. He's selling this as Blink Stalker aggression.
Build an immortal, bro. Build an immortal.
Yep. But none of those things actually happening. Okay, PartinG should be a little bit careful.
He's being a bit brazen here, that's for sure. There's the Photon Overcharge, and you know the thing is, actually, that Photon Overcharge will not line up with the DTs. Is the problem.
Yeah, no, but it doesn't matter. I actually think that he's going to get DTs in this early enough, and I think he could potentially unpower the robo. 2 Dark Templars have been walked in.
2 DTs are all you need to kill it.
Yep, he's going to go for the robotics facility, and I think sOs has no idea that this is happening. Let's look at the DTs.
Okay, they're sneaking in the probes. The probes are trying to hold position on top of the DTs. They're trying to block him, but one DT makes it. He's so close. He's on top of it. Second DT shows up. He should be able to kill it. There should be nothing he can do. He needs to warp in a sentry.
Yeah, but no, he doesn't have energy.
Can he block the sentries?
Yeah, he has 2 sentries, but he doesn't have energy for an observer now.
Oh, he can't build it. Oh, no.
He doesn't have
GG. PartinG takes 2-1 lead.
Oh my god. I cannot believe that just happened.
Damn. That's some high octane StarCraft.
PartinG, man, he's showing no fear. No fear at all.
Just thinking about, you know, I didn't even, until you said it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, force field him off, get the observer out. It's like, no, you actually can't afford that. It's such a tight defense to have to make, and sOs is just like, what?
I love this by PartinG. I loved everything about it because he really sold it as, hey, I'm going Blink Stalkers 2, or hey, this is a delayed 3-gate, but I'm here, I'm committing to this. And sOs was probably halfway through, he's realizing like, this is too easy. Why is this guy fighting? And like, I have more oh, wait a minute, I have more Stalkers than him. That's not good. And that's when you know that it's just too late.
And I love this. Like in the corner of the screen, the probes all tried to hold position and catch one of the DTs, but you know they weren't able to. And in case you guys didn't know, 2 DTs attacking a robo, even if you start an observer, it will not finish. You need those force fields, and then like you said, he doesn't have any gas to start the observer.
Nope. And I mean, I don't think it would have been enough anyway, because 1 DT was still swiping away.
They already had half of the shield. All the shield's gone, half the health.
Oh man, PartinG up to 1, Nate. Just one more game.
Just in case any of you guys missed the memo, you can hashtag WCS and hashtag PartinG if you want to join the winning team here at the World Championship Series.
All right, just for that reason alone, I hope we're going to see game number 5. I want to see at least Sweat a little. As it's going to be played on Cactus Valley, a very big game for sOs. Todd mentioned it in the pre-game show and analysis that the boys did at the couch. Last year, sOs did not make it to BlizzCon. He had opportunities to make it to BlizzCon, but he decided to let it slide. He regretted it. He really wanted to be back. He's here right now, but now he's 1 map away from being eliminated. And I think it would be a surprise, man. sOs has been, you know, one of the best Protoss players in the world over the last few months. Absolutely top 3 for sure. And about PartinG, we can't say the same. He just hasn't participated in the same amount of tournaments.
Yeah, it's time to find out, though, if PartinG can still take it all the way and make it to play on the main stage at BlizzCon next week. We're loaded in to game number 4 in the top left position of Cactus Valley. We have the blue Protoss player. It is Yoey Flash Wolves PartinG.
I mean, I love it. He's always cocky. He's always so confident, but he always delivers, and that's the crazy
best
thing.
part. That's you know that's the true sign of a professional. You can be a showman, but you also show up.
Yeah, like even if he would end up losing this series, he still put up a great fight, and he was 1 map away from making it to the quarterfinals against this man that's spawning in the right top side of Cactus Valley. It's everything or nothing for him right now. It is sOs.
Hasn't he been there before, Kev? You know, know, thinking back to the Intel Extreme Masters Grand Finals, only one person left that tournament with a penny in their wallet. Of course, it was quite a few pennies for sOs. But he's been in these high-stakes situations. He knows what it's like to play when everything is on the line, and he's certainly a player that wouldn't surprise anybody if he was able to win the next 2 maps.
Yeah, and PvP is such a crazy matchup where it can really drive you crazy right now. There's so many builds that you always have to worry about, especially when you go up against a world-class opponent. You know they'll do whatever they can to sell you fake information, because PvP is all about information, and PartinG just did such a phenomenal job in giving sOs the idea that you have to worry about the build that he actually didn't have to worry about, and he did a really good job in hiding his build. Of course, there was a probe in the main base of PartinG, but you're not looking at the main base of PartinG when there are 4 stalkers running up your ramp. You know, you're not looking at your scouting probe. You're looking at, can I defend over here? You know, make sure that I don't die, make sure I don't make a micro mistake, because every stalker matters when it's stalker versus stalker. Obviously, they matter a little bit less when you have 2 Dark Templars and your opponent doesn't have detection.
Yeah, a very fast scout here for PartinG as he moves into sOs's base. Nothing really crazy to see. It's not that super fast Stalker rush that we had in the last few games. Both players opening up a little bit more standard. It is a 4-player map, Kev, right?
What is interesting, though, for PartinG is that he sees there are only 2 probes on each simulator, while PartinG is mining with 3. I think Cactus Valley is pretty much the best Stargate map out there. I think Stargate is always a solid choice over here, but it's harder to go Stargate when you're not mining, you know, the maximum amount of gas. So there is a chance that sOs goes Blink Stalkers or maybe even Gateway Aggression.
So for anyone out there not necessarily familiar with Cactus Valley Stargate play, what makes you like it so much? Clearly PartinG understands something that you do as well.
I mean, it's a large map, and large maps are good for fast-moving units, and Stargates are very fast-moving units. And it's also, you know, it's very difficult to scout with ground units. So if you have an Oracle, it's always nice to have it there. You know what you're playing against. And I also think Phoenixes in general are fantastic on this map. Even if it's for the sole reason that Oracles are so popular here. Now, if you open up Phoenix against Oracle, that's obviously a dream scenario if your Phoenixes are actually at home protecting your mineral line or sniping it somewhere. But sOs is playing well into the meta of this map. You know, this is the build that he chosen for. 1 gate, barely any units out, just has a Mothership Core, and he started to expand already. And he goes for the Nexus immediately. So, you know, that's pretty good against Stargate. If your opponent would have opened up with Blink Stalkers, this would have been rather risky.
All right, so with PartinG going straight away into Phoenix and then Robo, what exactly can he do with this? Is this not as strong versus this Twilight opening of sOs? Is there an advantage for either player yet?
It's good for PartinG if the expand wasn't that quick, but sOs's expand is so quick, and that makes it pretty damn good for sOs. Now PartinG, I think as soon as he realizes what he's up against, he should drop his own expand immediately. And what he can do then later on is make Immortals and Phoenixes, put pressure on the front with Immortals, but don't commit. You know, just keep it there to make sure that sOs keeps his units towards on the low ground in the natural, and then the Phoenixes can fly into the main base and pick up probes and even the game up economically. Because I don't think you can go for a 1 base all-in over here if you're PartinG, because you spend too many resources on infrastructure. Stargate expensive, Phoenix expensive, Robo expensive. So I would just expand if I was PartinG as quick as possible.
I think that's understandable. He's really trying to chew away at the shields, and that Mothership Core really wants to keep it weak in case an opportunity pops up. And look at that Chrono into the Immortal. You think he's still going to expand, or...?
I think expanding is the best choice, but if he wants to go...
I mean, it looks like he has a probe there.
Yeah, I think what he maybe was hoping for is to force out a very early Photon Overcharge in the main base. He's getting his own Mothership Core, now he's expanding.
Okay.
So I think what he was maybe looking for, Nate, is forcing out either an early Photon Overcharge in the main or killing the Mothership Core. If either of those 2 things happen, then of course he could attack, because, you know, he doesn't have to worry about a Photon Overcharge. And then Phoenix Immortal is actually extremely good against Blink Stalkers, but sOs kept his calm, kept his composure, didn't drop an early Photon Overcharge, and PartinG is like, oh, alright, I guess
what do I do with these Phoenix?
Yeah, I guess I'll expand. But he can still do the thing that I previously mentioned, build up an army. PartinG is taking the lead.
Oh, wow.
Bandwagoners.
Yeah.
But PartinG can still, you know, even this game up economically. What he has to do is, like I said, you know, present a threat with his main army towards the natural of SOS. Show that you're there and don't commit, and then eventually, just pick up as many probes as possible.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty nice move, and it grabs almost all the probes in the natural. Might lose one Phoenix, it looks like, possibly two if he sticks around here too long.
Wow, he gets one more probe though.
Wow.
Just killed 7 workers. Didn't even need his main arm.
Gets 2 exit frags and boosts out of there. Not bad.
And is actually economically ahead right now, and his Nexus just finished up.
Well then, PartinG looking sharp, Kev.
Yeah, but he did end up losing one of his Phoenixes, so yeah, he just spent all of the energy as well. And army-wise, it's not very impressive at what PartinG is currently working with.
So is this attack from SOS? Does he have to do damage with this?
No, it's pretty even. I don't think he has to. He might try to kill Phoenix, but no, I don't think there's a huge commitment in this. Even in workers, SOS has Blink, which is excellent map control. Of course, Phoenixes give you a little bit of map presence, but I still like Blink over here. I think SOS is fine, and he should just get his own robo units out.
Yeah, I guess in this point you'd rather fight the Protoss in the choke point so that he doesn't have the full arc to use his Stalkers, and at the same time that Guardian Shield really helps defensively speaking, but Blink's solid so far, loses at least a Stalker though.
Yep. I don't think that SOS should be pushing the issue too hard over here. PartinG is going to send his Phoenixes back, as SOS does drop his Forge, so he's ready to continue with this game. Was probably just hoping to find an opening. It's very nice to kill that one Phoenix, because obviously one Phoenix cannot kill anything by itself, so you never have to worry about the tag team of 2 Phoenixes anymore. Because sometimes it's very annoying, there are 2 Phoenixes low on HP, and you're not worried about them, but they're idle for a couple minutes, they show up, both have 200 energy, and they kill 7 or 8 probes.
Yeah. Oh, one of those Stalkers gets caught at the very end. Nice force field catch there with PartinG.
But that will never happen when there's only 1 Phoenix left, so
yeah,
that 1 Phoenix kill, very worth it.
Those Phoenix, they work best in pairs, Kev.
They only work in pairs, pretty much. They're pretty harmless by themselves. They can only tickle a Mothership Core or maybe snipe an Observer.
The Phoenix Observer unit composition is not something we've seen too much of.
Robobay going down for PartinG already. I like that. Luis, he's pretty exposed here with his Immortals. A forward blink by SOS. Very risky. Gets 1 Immortal. Should get the second one. If he gets Immortal number 3 as well, there are no reinforcements here for PartinG. That was a very good trade for SOS. I do like it. He lost a bunch of Stalkers, but reducing the Immortal count from 4 to 1.
Yeah, he can no longer one-shot those Stalkers, and that really allows the Blinks to trade even more effectively than before.
Yep. This is pretty much what you hope for at SOS, because at a certain point you do want to do something with all your Blink Stalkers. He goes for a Stalker there. I kind of thought that he maybe could have gone for another Immortal. Maybe not to kill it, but do some real HP damage.
And we have a Colossus on the way. We do need to get range as well. SOS starts up a Warp Prism. What do you feel about the status of this game? I'm not quite sure who to pick as far as who's ahead.
Yeah, PartinG has slightly more army, and he's quicker on the Colossus, so most people say a lot of gateways go down, by the way, on both sides. I think PartinG, army-wise, he's a little bit ahead, but I think SOS, has all the pieces that he needs to make sure that this game is still going to be even and he can drag this game out. So I think it's actually that even though they're working with different units and different unit strengths, unit compositions for this phase in the game, and the tech is a tiny bit different, I think it's that even.
All right. Well, the first Colossus is out for PartinG. Now he has range on the way and +1 attack. That lack of blink, though, makes it very difficult to chase or do anything against SOS's Stalkers.
Yeah, that's why I like SOS's position just as much as like PartinG. PartinG has a better army, he has quicker Colossus, but SOS has an upgrade advantage and he has a mobility advantage, and that pretty much evens things out.
Yeah, so at this point, what does he want to do the most? Just hold this third base, not take damage from harass, and press that army advantage that he has?
That's definitely what PartinG wants to do. Ends up losing that last Phoenix. SOS needs to identify that this base is actually going down as quick as possible, because he has no idea about it. He's going to see the army. Okay, he's going to see the base now. That's very important. He's going to blink forward. Ooh, careful.
Oh, catches 2 Stalkers. Not bad.
What is in that prism?
Warp Prism tried to... I guess it was going to go for a Zella drop, but it tried to save the Stalkers and, well, failed.
So then this is kind of tricky now, because SOS suddenly realized, like, hey, what the hell? You're going up to 3 bases already? That's interesting. He's warping in a lot of Zealots, Nate, but...
Is he really going to try to crack PartinG open here?
The charge is halfway done for SOS. I find it very risky to do this on 2 bases. Most of the time when games are that even and you attack 2 bases into 3, you end up losing. But
and SOS doesn't have range for his Colossi yet, so making a push really soon would be dangerous.
I think it's going for +2.
By the time his range is done and his Archons are out, or his charge, or his +2, that third base can already be mining.
Yep, it's 7 gateways against 6, so he has a minor advantage in that department. He's going to try, of course, to spread PartinG out. If you have 3 bases, you have 3 locations to worry about. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. He forced out Photon Overcharge immediately and keeps all the units alive. I think sOs is happy with that. When it, does PartinG know that sOs is still on 2 bases? This is very important information, and I don't think he knows about it, Nate. I actually think that PartinG is on the impression that sOs is going up to 3 bases as well.
Yeah, this is really scary. If he misreads this and starts investing into economy at that 3rd base, he could put himself really far behind.
Yeah, the observer is going to see it. The observer is probably going to see this army, I think, for no. The observers saw each other and they scared each other. sOs, man, he has a slight army supply advantage. He does have Archons. I think there is Templar Archives for PartinG as well, but he doesn't have an Archon yet. Archons are very good. Couple of Stalkers out of position, no blink. I mean, 4 Stalkers, it looks like a big deal, but it's not the end of the world. At least PartinG should know right now. All alarm bells should have just gone off. Like, oh my god, this guy is about to pretty much attack me.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to try to time warp the Colossi. And how many times have we seen a PvP-1 on that move alone? Moves back to Mothership Court, needs to get the Photon Overcharge as well if he wants to do that.
I felt that sOs could have blinked to the left side and maybe killed that Mothership Court. Photon Overcharge goes down in base number 3.
Another Colossus does pop out for PartinG. He has a massive number 5 Colossi here to defend this 3rd base.
Yep.
Although when more Colossus from sOs comes in on the right side, it's going to be free.
God. That is a very big mistake for sOs, losing 1 Colossus in this phase of the game.
And if he doesn't kill this 3rd base, oh no.
That could be it. Losing that 1 Colossus there is so deadly. PartinG feeling very confident now. 5 Colossus against 2, and my opponent is Zealot heavy. Hell yeah, I want to take that fight. That's what PartinG is thinking right now.
And his Archons are melting those Zealots, and once the Immortals can start firing on those Colossi of his opponent, he should be good to go. He's going to have to back up though towards that Nexus. He is taking some shots. The Zealot Warping from the behind actually doing quite a bit of damage as well. 4 Colossi still alive though. sOs is trying to make it work. The Stalker's flicking the right side. There's 2 Colossi versus 2. He's on the 3rd base. War Prism continuing to reinforce.
sOs has more reinforcements. He still has more Zealots left as well. He's going to take care of his base. I guess there was not enough gateway stuff in the mix for PartinG there. He had the stronger units, but he didn't have enough Zealots on its own. sOs had reinforcements coming in. Oh my god, I think sOs was under the impression he was pretty much dead, and he suddenly turns it around. 2 Colossus against 5, and sOs turns it around.
I mean, with the Archons in here, the Zealot Warpins aren't going to be enough. He starts his own 3rd base.
Still has a Mothership Court, could drop a time warp. That's exactly what he does.
And he's just going to clean up the rest of this army. The Stalkers with the Colossus backbone should actually be enough to make it happen. The Photon Cannon in the natural is actually helping out quite a bit, though. Very dicey position, but sOs has the 3rd on the way.
Yeah, certainly. sOs lost a lot of Zealots there, though, Nate. I think he lost the time warp. Did he even lose the Mothership Core? Yeah, I guess he lost that one as well.
Oh, God.
sOs got to be a little bit careful now. You know, you killed that base. Technically, you don't have to push anymore.
Yeah, this has been nuts. So PartinG starts a pylon in the southeast position, so he's getting ready
Tables
to possibly
are
hit that 3rd.
You go up to 3 bases, and I'm going to attack you.
I can't handle this, Kev. This game has just gotten so insane.
It's so funny, guys, because I could see Nate's eyes like just sprinkle off. He's like, yeah, PartinG. And then suddenly the look on his face like, sOs is winning this?
Oh, man. Attacking up ramps, even with Colossi, is still risky business.
It's crazy. And let's not forget about this Warp Prism that is still around for sOs. It's very important. That's precious cargo you got inside over there.
Go!
Man,
the Stalkers actually see it, so he might be able to pick this off. Getting rid of this Warp Prism really gets him a lot of breathing room. He nabs it just barely.
Oh, I mean, he gets a Stalker, maybe 2, but that's 600 resources down the drain in a game that's pretty damn even. PartinG is going to go up to 3 base now again as well. Which player is going to start +3 first, Nate? Who's confident enough to start +3?
Who has the guts to start +3 attack? I don't even know what to think of this game anymore. So sOs has that 3rd base economy mining.
That's very important because the main bases are pretty much mined out. So that means that right now PartinG is basically on the 1 base economy until the Nexus is done. Well, sOs, you know, he's still enjoying his comfortable 2 base economy, and that should give him
a little boost.
Yep, a small lead. You know, it really stinks for sOs that he lost. Oh, there's nothing over here. Wow,
this could do well for him.
Quick reaction. But it really stinks that he lost that Warp Prism, because now you got, if you want to attack, you gotta wait until Pylon finishes up before you just hit that Prism. And Prisms are also very good in big fights because you can fly the Prism behind the army.
We've seen it so many times. You just float that Warp Prism onto the Colossi and Warp Zealots onto them.
Yep, or yeah, like a little bit behind them, I think is even better, and spread them out. So that's not going to be the case. Those Zealots did still manage to kill 6 workers. I have no idea how that happened.
With that attack upgrade, I guess they're two-shotting the probes now, so they are getting quite a bit of work done, aggressively speaking.
sOs is very eager to be aggressive, but it's 97 army supply against 93, so I think twice about it. I guess a big Zealot warp in, lost a few more workers.
Recalls back to deal with that Zealot warp in. That buys PartinG a little bit more time here as he's got his third base up and running. Clears out that Zealot. Does not want to lose anything. Taking the gases, too.
He's going to get a warp prison. Maybe cheeky Dark Knight.
So, can we look at the power units here? How many Archons, Colossi? 5 on each side for Colossi, and a 7th extra Archon for sOs.
Yeah.
sOs is also building another Colossus instead of that War Prism that PartinG's getting.
Yeah, I think sOs should really stop on the Archons now. I think 7 Archons is pretty much what
You're like one-shotting Zealots at that point.
what you want to have. But the problem is, like, Archons are very big kick units, but they don't have a lot of range. So the more you have, the less likely it is that all of them attack at the same time. PartinG starts +3, by the way, way before sOs.
He had the guts.
Yeah, he did have the heart and commitment, but you know, that's like, I really think sOs should focus on Colossus or even Immortals now again. Immortals are always good because the way that like PvP works in a crazy world late game is that you have 3 layers of armies that are fighting, right? You've got the Archons in front, the Immortals are like the halfway.
Yeah, and the Zealots just try to buy you 2 seconds so that you can shoot one more time than the other guy.
And the Colossus are in the back. But if you have too many Archons, you know, that just doesn't really work.
Okay, so that War Prism's headed over towards the main base. What is there to defend? It looks like 3 Stalkers. Keep in mind, sOs does have Blink, so if he responds quickly enough, he can take advantage of that position.
Armies are still dancing in the middle. Gotta be careful.
Colossi, step forward!
Time warps. Can go down.
Be still, my beating heart.
I mean, PartinG is pretty damn Archon heavy as well. sOs is on 9 Archons now. 4 Zealots being dropped over here. Stalkers were a little bit out of position. It's a big weapon.
Oh, he focuses the War Prism with the cannons. So good.
Yep, very, very clutch move there. That's a clutch decision by sOs.
If all those Zealots finish, then this third base gets wrecked. He forces another recall, loses his time warps.
sOs, I mean, he's really looking for an opening. He never started +3, Nate, so he says, all right, I gotta make this happen real soon. He's pretty much maxed out. That's when you want to fight. Part of his army is on the right side. It's such a risky move as well, but I think it's going to work out perfectly fine for him because PartinG doesn't know about this. Observers see each other. PartinG is going to see a little bit of feedback on the Mothership Core is massive here, by the way.
And he needs to be very careful.
If I'm
so
sOs
he catches
here,
a glimpse. He catches a glimpse. Here comes the big push. The Colossi spread a very nice arc for PartinG, but will the right side damage be too much? 2 of the Colossi shooting gateways. Not all of sOs's army is actually fighting here as the Archons begin to clash. He needs to target fire the Colossi just now. One of them takes a shot, but with only a few of his Colossi still not shooting, PartinG is actually being pushed back either way. Really just showing sOs that max out too strong. We're going to the deciding match.
Yeah, he was just a little too far ahead when it came to pure army supply. sOs evens up a game where he was pretty much dead and buried, but he refused, Nate. He refused. He's like, I ain't going down yet.
Yeah, like in the true spirit of Halloween, he did crawl out of his grave, Roddy.
Yes, and I want to give a shout out as well in the end to that timing. Now, I don't want to say that he did that intentionally or that he was aware of it, but somehow, some way, that final fight starts 8 seconds before +3 is ready for PartinG, you know. So by the time that it's ready, most of his important units have died. We can take a look at a couple of the key highlights of this game with the Windows 10 DVR.
That's right. Of course, we saw that early pressure. PartinG did quite a bit of work with those Phoenix, and we honestly, he built himself up to a phenomenal position as the game went on, and he took a couple of great, phenomenal fights. I think very soon actually is with a big one that kind of makes it seem like, okay, PartinG should win this game.
Yep, this is when Colossus #3, that's so important on the right side, just walks into the army and it dies. And normally when you go for a 2-base all-in and you lose a Colossus like that, that's supposed to be the end, Nate.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the end, but he walks into this choke point in that Warp Prism on the right side.
Time warp,
he just messes with him so well.
So, I'm still surprised by this fight.
Yeah, it's just incredible. That next wave of Zealot Warper that comes in on the right side, like that's what does it. And it's incredible because he has a few more at that third base as well. Like there's just so many Zealots.
Yep, he did have 1 gateway more, but by the looks of this, it looks like he has 7 gateways more.
Yeah, incredible. You definitely wouldn't have thought that he was the one on 2 bases in that fight. And then being able to come up here, things got so close. And then PartinG all of a sudden is like, no, actually, I'm not going to die. You can see his cannon in the top side is still shooting, giving him a lot of extra damage.
Those 3 Stalkers died. Like
he catches the glimpse. Here comes the big
kill them all at the same time, and this is...
And then still, these two Colossi in the north. Like, if you can beat a guy and accidentally have two Colossi do nothing, you wrecked him.
I mean, it was right before +3, like +3 finishes up now. Well, great. All my units are pretty much dead or running away. I mean, he was up 30-40 army supply there. So sOs is getting a small lead from that late game economy that he had built for himself at a certain point, and also not investing in +3, which means it will all come down to one final game on Bridgehead, a map that I don't think, you know, these guys are super comfortable on, especially not PvP. I think it's a pretty unique map. Backdoor rocks, you know, no ramp in the back of your natural. This could be a map where we see quick expands. We could also see some really crazy stuff.
That's right. This could be the, you know, the strangest map that we'll see today in this PvP. Two guys really going at it. I think couldn't describe it any better than a real slugfest, like the guys were saying on the couch. It's time to find out who goes on and who goes home. On the right side of Bridgehead, we have the blue Protoss player representing Yowie Flash Wolves. He's PartinG.
I think it's always really hard to bounce back though in game number 5 when you know you were in an excellent position in game 4, you know, when you played solid for a while and you caught a break and then suddenly you have to play game 5. I think that's very difficult.
Don't say that, Kev. Don't do it to me. Gotta believe, man. PartinG. His opponent, of course, on the left side, the red Protoss from Jin Air Green Wings, he's sOs.
Wouldn't worry about Nate. Both these guys are previous world champions.
They're both so good, right?
I kind of want to see what the Twitter universe is voting for right now. You know, hashtag sOs if you think he's going to take it, or hashtag PartinG if you're still riding the hype train.
You
with
had
Nate.
all these people convinced at the start of the series, and then PartinG starts to win, and then everyone starts voting with me. You know what? Artosis probably changed his vote. He's trying to curse me, but the Nathaniel's blessing is too strong. I still believe.
The Nathaniel's blessing. You copied that from me.
Well, I mean, if you call it that, yeah, I'll take it.
It used to be it was an 11-gate opening for sOs. That's why he has slightly quicker access to the Cybercore. Could be very quick blink, could be Stargate, but you know, Stargate is obviously never bad in PvP, but I think this is a better blink stalker map because you can blink over those backdoor rocks.
The rocks,
yeah, and then there is no ramp walking into the main base or natural, so I really like blink play on this map. Could be very quick 3-gateway aggression. That's something that we sometimes see. sOs has used a lot of 3-gateway aggression into a late robo lately, so there is a chance he busts out that build. Is that a wobble?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess he could always break the rocks later, right? If he wants to leave his base.
Yeah, it is Stargate. Very quick Stargate.
So with this, if he can't run any units into his base early on, then I guess this opens him up for a better blocking of the scout, but also just a way of not needing to build early defensive units. I mean, this probe's not going to kill the Cybercore.
Yep, and you can drop the absolute quickest possible Stargate without any way of your opponent seeing it, unless he decides to fly his Mothership Core across the map, but that would
Which is pretty risky.
Yeah, and that would be great news for you, because then he has to use recall, or he's going to have to stay there. Is he going to do it? No. Is he actually going to go all?
I mean, if an Oracle flies straight from sOs's base to PartinG's, and PartinG doesn't get a second stalker, this could be a Rectorino moment.
Stargate. I do think it's an Oracle opening for sOs. It makes no sense to... Wow, it's Phoenix actually. How does he know? That's so good.
What is he? Because he know? What is he? Just imagine the Mothership Course coming across the map? Did he see it leave?
Yeah, I mean, I do think his probe saw it, but going for Phoenix, I mean...
it's a free Mothership Core if he finds it.
Yep, he's not going to have enough energy for recall, that's correct. He's not going to find it, but what he will find is a Stargate on the other side of the map, which means, you know, Phoenix against Phoenix, this Stargate of PartinG is going to be borderline useless unless he pulls a rabbit out of his hat.
Yeah, so
what is it? It's going to be
Phoenix. All right.
Yeah,
well,
but he's
we're going down this path now.
He's down to Phoenix. So
okay,
what do you do right now if you're PartinG and you see your opponent is chrono boosting out Phoenixes? Now you see he has 2 Phoenixes already. I don't know.
This is rough. Okay, so there's the recall.
I don't know what I would do if I'm PartinG. Do I continue building Phoenixes knowing that I'm down 2 Phoenixes? I don't know, Nate.
You're the Protoss expert, man. I'm beyond my depth here.
Normally, when you're 2 Phoenixes, like 1 Phoenix behind, you can overcome that. 2 Phoenixes behind, I am not sure how PartinG is supposed to turn this around. Maybe he's going to go for a 1-base attack, actually. 3 gateway aggression with Phoenixes against Phoenix that is going into the expand.
Oh, okay. So he gets the free shot off by him going for that Graviton lift, so... PartinG.
Yeah, because sOs didn't know yet that he was playing against Phoenixes. Now he does know. He did see the amount of gateways. So if I'm sOs, I'm checking my side of the map right now. Is this guy going to go gateway aggression? Yes, he is. I mean, this is PartinG's only shot, pretty much, I think. As well as if he's going to find a nade, that's devastating. He can actually lift up a Stalker over here. Oh, yeah, you see the pylon. Oh, but he doesn't see the units. He sees
He's supply block, too. PartinG actually can't warp anything else in. He starts 2 pylons back home.
PartinG caught a massive break there, Nate. If he ends up losing 2 Stalkers there, I think the game is 100% over. But there's... I mean, the
cybernetic score is outside the range of Photon Overcharge, and the rocks are actually preventing him from moving any units down to defend him.
But Zealots and Phoenixes should still be enough. Like, PartinG is extremely committed to this. Extremely committed.
Oh, that Mothership Core is in range. Back it up. Back it up. No.
Oh my
so
god,
close.
you're kidding me.
Oh, goodness. Very close. 5 health.
HP.
One more hit would have done it. Okay, so now the Phoenix are going to move in. He's going to step forward. The Mothership Core exposes itself, by the way. If he clicks on it, he could kill it. Very quickly, the Mothership Core is going to be hit. The Phoenix are coming in and he gets it. So no Photon Overcharge. He's going to continue to press forward. But the Stalker Warp in for SOS is going to help a bit too.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to win this Phoenix war. Take care of the Phoenixes of PartinG as quick as possible. One more Phoenix does fly in. It's, oh my god, 2 Phoenixes survive and only 2 Stalkers are left for PartinG. I think SOS has done it, Nate.
Yeah, looks like SOS should be able to march his way across the map and just take it.
I mean, he just wanted to keep that Mothership Core there at all time. He's like, I'm not going to use it for Photon Overcharge. I want to have the damage here, and I want to have the HP, every HP that it absorbs. It's worth it. SOS ahead in Phoenixes. PartinG brought his Phoenixes very late, by the way.
So what do? I mean, both players are going to try to expand, and then SOS is just going to crush his skull in once he has enough forces.
I mean, you're not going to give up. I think what you're hoping for right now for PartinG is that your opponent overextends with Phoenixes. You can kill 2 of them because they were so low on HP. There was 1 Phoenix of PartinG that could have one-shotted those 2 other Phoenixes, but it focused on the Phoenix with HP, and then 3 Phoenixes survived, which is so massive. Photon Overcharge goes down. He did see the Stargate there, and he saw it was being chrono boosted, so SOS is like, okay, cool. Let's do Phoenix versus Phoenix all over again. And Nate, I have played thousands and thousands of Phoenix versus Phoenix games, and whenever I win the first Phoenix fight, I pretty much win. The only time it ever didn't happen was against Whitera, but that's just because Whitera's a legend.
Yeah, well.
I won 3 Phoenix fights and then lost against Whitera's carriers. That's just because he's Whitera.
He's pretty good at those target bats. So he tries to catch the reinforcement Phoenix, which I do like, and all of a sudden we've got ourselves a... very scary battle in the skies.
Yeah, it's a good move, but now his Phoenixes are trapped. Like, these Phoenixes are going to have to turn around eventually. So now it's already a 1-for-1 trade. Oh, that could have gone worse. He ends up trading 1-for-1.
This is still really... this is still pretty scary.
Yeah, SOS is getting his second Stargate now.
Well, he's really doubling down on this then. Oh, goodness.
He could lift up the sentry there, but it's very risky to use lifts while there are Phoenixes around, because Phoenixes kill other Phoenixes quicker than anything else. Guardian Shield being used.
Nice.
Wow, 2-for-1 trade. PartinG refused to give up, but he's down 8 workers, though, Nate.
Yeah, PartinG's taking a trip to Value Town, but is he going to pick up what he needs? That's the ultimate question.
Value Town?
Yeah, Value Town.
Oh, Value Town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cost effectiveness, man.
Yeah, I know a Value Town. It's a poker term, don't worry.
I see.
Well, the second Stargate is going to finish off. So even though when he picks off a Phoenix, he trades 2-for-1. It's a great trade indeed. Excellent value, as you like to say, Nate. But the problem is, his opponent has 2 Stargates and is severely outmining him.
Yeah, he needs to make something happen here. And these 4 Phoenix are going to move in. They could go for it, but then there's no escape because the defensive Phoenix are going to be here.
I don't know why PartinG is being so ambitious with his Phoenixes. He's down in Phoenixes and he's on the other side of the map. He's going to end up losing all these Phoenixes. Oh my god, the Phoenix control from SOS was ridiculous there as well. He was going to win that fight regardless, don't get me wrong. But he saved the maximum amount of Phoenix. He's doing it again. It's a bust.
This Phoenix control is insane, actually. He's got so many weakened ones with missing health. There's the Photon Overcharge. Grabs another. Will escape. And he can actually pick up these 2 Stalkers as well.
He's going to kill this one too. SOS playing out of his mind right now. That is insane.
PartinG is just... he's got to be like
he can lift up these Stalkers.
Yeah.
PartinG has no army anymore. It's 32 army supply against 10. SOS in this battle of world champions was so close to being defeated in game number 4. But he turned it around, Nate.
I was so close to being undefeated in the prediction game, Kev.
I know, that's all that's on your mind right now. I think you're getting carried away a little, Nate.
Just having a bit of top banter, lad. Yeah. But I don't know how PartinG is supposed to survive now. The Phoenix is just going to come in and ravage him.
Yep, Fleet Beacon on the way as well. PartinG is going to try to get a second Stargate, but he knows, Nate. He knows he lost way too many Phoenixes to turn this party around.
He can just step forward and kill all of this. He's like realizing, oh yeah, I actually can just lift this all up. We don't have any energy here. Let's just kill that. I mean, he could just park on top of the Stargate if he wanted to.
He could
build a
almost-
Nexus outside his base if he wanted
He could
to.
almost lift up every unit now as well. As soon as the shields regenerate, he can just hover above the army of Parting, and he can lift up every single unit one by one. And I can tell you, killing Overlords is satisfying, but having a PvP where you just hover in the guy's main base and you kill every unit that he wipes in.
This hardly seems fair.
It is not fair.
This is like when that guy just cloaks and you don't have anything to kill him with in TVT. God, this is painful.
Yeah, Parting is going to try it one more time. SOS is going to make 2 Void Rays because he's realizing that his opponent is chrono boosting Warp Gates, which means he's probably going to go for a final ultimate desperation Stalker attack. And, well, if you have the money for 2 Void Rays, you may as well.
Yeah, I think that's more than reasonable. I mean, he has enough Phoenix to pretty much pick up every unit here and then some.
And that's exactly what's going to happen, Nate. It's a lift party.
Hey man, I guess he gets, free flight at the end. GG, SOS eliminates Parting and advances on to the round of 8 after a pretty wild chase of a PvP series. SOS showing why he plays so well at these big tournaments.
Why we call him the $100,000 man, or SOS. $, hell of a series though. Really, really fun PvP series. Got a feel for Parting. He was so close, especially that game number 4. I looked at that fight, Nate, and most of the time whenever we cast a fight, and then we're like, okay, I know where that went wrong. I'm still surprised by the outcome of game number 4, but maybe we can hear from the man himself as he's with Chobra right now.
2 legendary Protoss players came into this round of 16, but it was SOS who came out on top and said, BlizzCon is somewhere I belong, winning 3-2, but it was a close game. So, first of all, let's talk about just a matchup player to player. You had to play against Parting, and there's always a lot of talk around Parting. Is he doing well these days? How is he doing? He's got a bit of a legendary status around himself. Were you worried at all about Parting's condition and how good he might be playing right now coming into opening week? 저희 그럼 이번 경기에서 원희삭 선수 상대로 이제 경기를 치르게 됐는데 원희삭 선수는 뭐 어느 대회를 가도 항상 그 주위에서 이제 커뮤니티에서 얘기가 많아요. 요즘 컨디션은 어떤가? 최근에 뭐 많은 대회를 이겼었나? 그런 얘기가 많았었는데 이번에 상대를 하기 전에 뭐 컨디션이 딱히 좋을 거라고 예상을 해서 뭐 걱정을 했다든지 아니면 뭐 어떻게 해도 나는 이길 수 있다 그런 자신감이 있었는지 궁금하네요.
우선 원희삭 선수가 항상 대회에서 잘하니까 요즘 좀 부진해도 전혀 만만하게 보지 않았고 그래서 힘들었던 것 같아요. 오늘 경기도.
Well, Parting always plays well, regardless of what, how he's been feeling or what environment he's been practicing. And he's always still performed pretty well overall. So I never underestimated him. And if you look at the score, I think that's why I had some trouble getting through this game. Of course, as the commentator said, SOS, you always perform when it seems to matter, especially with that prize pool. What is it about that? 그럼 저희가 이제 그 역사적으로 봐도 김유진 선수가 뭔가 이 상금이 좀 많은 대회라든지 그러면 컨디션이 굉장히 더 좋아지는 것 같아요. 항상 그런 대회에서 더 좋은 경기력을 보여주고 우승도 자주 했었고 그런 모습을 보여주셨는데 본인은 그거에 대해서 뭐 어떤 생각이 있으신가요?
딱히 그런 생각은 없었는데 뭔가 그런 말 들으니까 더 큰 대회에서 잘하고 싶어요.
I never really thought about that, but if that's what people are saying about me, that does motivate me a little bit more to want to do well on the big stage. And of course, last but not least, no stranger here at BlizzCon. You won 2 years ago. You were very happy, kind of a big breakthrough for you. What would it mean to also end the Heart of the Swarm career with another BlizzCon win? 저희가 이제 2년 전에 블리즈컨에서 우승하셨었잖아요. 그러면 이번에가 이제 군단의 심장 마지막 또 블리즈컨 대회인데 여기서 우승을 한다면 얼만큼 큰 의미가 있을까요?
그래도 군단의 심장을 마지막을 장식하는 대회이기 때문에 어느 정도 군단의 심장에서 제가 여기 있었다라는 거를 보여줄 수 있는 것 같아요.
Well, this is the tournament that will commemorate the last chapter of Heart of the Swarm. And for me to be able to win that, I think it'll really cement my place in Heart of the Swarm. That I was here, that SOS was here during Heart of the Swarm. Ladies and gentlemen, SOS moves on to the round of 8.
Indeed he does, Chobra, and it's now official. 2013 was a better year than 2012 as SOS, the champion of that year, moves through to the next round. And now we've got the 2 champions of 2014 and 2013 that may eventually meet in the grand finals if they continue to dominate through. But let's talk a little bit about that series, Todd. How did you expect that series to play out? Was it as we saw? I mean, it was a pretty much a slugfest.
Are you going
right?
to Todd because he had the prediction wrong? Is that where you're?
I got it right.
You got it right.
Oh, never mind.
That's why I gave him.
Good try, Jeff.
I'll save my
Good try.
jokes.
Yeah.
You know what? Not everyone's a home run. Okay, next time. Go ahead with your actual analysis.
I thought it might be a little bit, faster and crazier games, but overall, yeah, it was both players were being pretty aggressive, and in the end, it was cool to see it finish up with Phoenix versus Phoenix and SOS getting the upper end with me finally getting a prediction right.
Finally.
Every time someone says "and in the end," my heart leaps a little bit. But yes, I like that it went to Game 5. That was really cool, and I think I think we can all be pretty proud of PartinG's performance as well. Like he actually took it down to the wire, and that game got pretty intense a couple of times there. But how much patience does SOS have to pounce? I mean, it's 2-2. He's getting knocked on the door by those 5 or 6 stalkers. He's outclassed in that way, but he knows he has the Phoenix advantage, and then he just waits to the opportune moment and gets the capitalized attack there. It's really good.
Let's jump into game now. The Windows 10 game DVR function that we do have here, and it's been providing us excellent coverage. And let's jump into map number 1 here, Jeff. So we started up. What are you seeing now? Oh, okay.
Jump to game number 2 now.
That was fast.
This, Windows 10 DVR just captures so much that it's hard to pick which one to talk about. But I mean, with this just kind of scrolling in the background, game number 1 started off really dicey. I mean, it was not going the way we thought it would, because SOS was like, I've got the clear build order. Well, this clear build order was kind of deflected. The Oracles didn't do much, and all of a sudden, PartinG was in a good position. But all kinds of little exchanges like the one we just saw and is now gone. Into this one. This was a really cool moment, though. I love what Nate and Rotterdam did with this. Like, it was super intense. The force fields came a little bit late. It's already gone. Never mind. And this game over here, like, no, I'm just kidding. Like, speed replay. Now, this battle was really cool. And like, right here, this was a really pivotal moment. He's going to push forward. He's actually winning on top of this. Everyone thought he was dead. Pushes into the third. Takes a supply advantage. And PvP is actually a really, really big deal. And we're going to stay on this one a little bit longer as we can actually see that he pushes further into it. Now we're over here, actually. He's attacking from the right side, but also down the middle. 2 Colossus were attacking the gateways, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's got so much firepower. He comes over the top on this fight. It was really hard to call, but these guys did a brilliant job. Thank God for Rotterdam. He's such a good commentator. Pushes in to secure the victory, to push it to game number 5, which is super intense. We're going to go there in a second here. We're going to hover on this just for a moment. And there it is, game number 5, knocking on the door. The Stalkers are going for the attack. Is it going to be the Motor Core? Is it going to be the Cyber Core? We can't really tell. Does it get the Motor Core? That was a big moment. All of a sudden, the Feast come in. They grab I'm in a zone. He grabs up the Stalkers, he picks them up into the battle, and this was where the tides turned, and SOS took a deep sigh of relief and said, $sign, oh, $sign. We're going to stick on this for a couple of seconds more, but really it's just a formality, because once you win the Phoenix battle, you have won the war.
I think Jeff figured out how to use the Windows 10 game DVR replay as it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Sheila, what did you think?
That was the MasterCard money exchange for the Caster Couch. Yeah, we did it.
Not much to say on the series compared to Jeff, at least.
This was good. There was a bunch of mistakes happening for sure.
Of course, that's where you go.
I mean, it all passed by pretty fast, but in the first series we had that Oracle opening by SOS, and he did have the build order advantage, as Todd was pointing out, but then he kind of targeted an Immortal instead of all.
That was a weird call.
Are you supposed to either
that was the T-Mobile weird call of the game, actually?
Take it slow and then use the Oracles for the main, and then do your timing on the natural, or go straight away for it? But now it was like he attacked, he did some damage with the Oracles on the Immortal, then pulled back and waited for the shields to regenerate. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, it's one of those, like, I feel like it's one of those, like, snap calls in a PvP where he's like, if I can peel the shields off that lone Immortal, maybe I can win this battle. Because keep in mind, he was down in expansion. He was kind of all in at that point. But it ended up being a weird...
The problem is he didn't behave like he was all in. He was, like, poking while losing the game, basically.
I agree. That was the mistake. I think the Oracles attacking the Immortal was that call where he's like, this will be really smart and creative. And then he was, like, in the middle of it, and he was like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, that happened to me before, for sure.
In a PvP?
Yeah. Yeah,
We've all had
I
a
mean,
few
in 2010, yeah, against White Raw.
Of course, of all people. Let's have a look at the predictions then. So the game and the day, really started to develop a little bit, and we have a big tie.
Wait
at
a
the
second.
top.
Guys, my eyes aren't very good.
Who's number 1?
Who is that? Is that... Oh. Wow.
I think, Jeff, you're at the top at the moment with a lot of other people.
Tasteless
but
is
more
third.
importantly, Todd. Why are you 12th? Understandably, Chobra's last, but...
He's been playing
oh, wait,
a lot
you
of
are,
games.
you are with Chobra.
I'm going to be casting a different game later, so I wanted you guys to feel smart. And
Just look how good Tasteless looks in that photo. He's like, I do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
the passion was so strong.
Colaris
He
has
might
a
even
great
have watched the
picture too.
game.
We will continue
Pretty
to
good,
follow
guys.
this, but so far
Going
so
pretty
good. 84%'s not bad.
What happened to Nate?
With that loss, it put him. It equaled a lot of people out. He's on
Interesting.
5 out
So
of
it's
6.
crashing and burning, finally.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for this since
Yeah.
Poland.
Yeah, well, he won't fall
Yeah.
that far.
I wonder if Tasteless can keep
kind of short.
top 3 all the way to the end, where the GG moment is in BlizzCon. I wonder if he can.
Well, you say GG moment like there's only going to be one.
There's
That's
gonna
the
be
good
more
thing
than
about
that.
Nick is he knows at the end of every game, 10 minutes or at the very end, you've got a GG moment. It's gonna be good.
Let's check in with social media one last time. Remember to hashtag WCS and join the conversations. Hope you guys been having a lot of fun today because, of course, we are here on the couch. Our next match is going to be Hydra versus Dream. We're going to go straight to that after this little break.